All right. Think I'm live. Think I'm live. It's always hard to tell. See if it's popping up. Cool. All right. We are live. Perfect. Okay. We'll give everybody, as always, a couple of minutes. I'll get the chat up. We need this. We need that. And should be good. Cool. Starting a little early today, I know, but them's the breaks. When you've got other stuff you got to do. So it is what it is. We'll get started with the usual here. Kids are running around my house like maniacs. Playing with the dog. I'm gonna allow that. So hopefully, hopefully you don't hear the barking in the background. I can't fix that right now. The dog needs to get its energy out if I'm going to have a chance at sleeping tonight. So we're gonna let the dog run around and bark a little bit. All right, we're gonna get started here. Just make sure everything looks all right. Yep, perfect. And hopefully everybody can hear me all right. I should check that too as well. Looks like it's coming through. So, okay, cool. Enough enough buying time here. We'll get into it. So, welcome. It's July 11th. I'm going to do my weekend review as I do every week now. And overall, it was a good week. It was kind of a weird week. The middle of the week was a little quiet and below expectations. Thanks, Colton. Appreciate it. So it was a really good start to the week, and then nothing happened for multiple days, and then it was like almost a rush at the end. And you'll see that there's a little bit of everything this week. There was some swing trading. There was some just selling options, which is generally what I focus on is selling options. But when you see the opportunity arise, you kind of need to make sure that you're taking advantage of them. There's no reason not to. And there were a couple good ones that I saw this week, so I did it. Right now, we had a good week, but definitely a few things are down from last week. So UNH is down from when I bought it at 320. We're at 304. Doesn't really matter. I'm expecting a big move post earnings, which is end of the month. So realistically, the rest of July will probably look that way. I'm also not selling options on UNH right now, so like there's a large portion of the port that's just not seeing any action. It's kind of an interesting thought process and something we should probably talk a little bit about. But even with that, it was still a great week. So broke 15K for the week again. The last 8-week average is just below 15, so that actually puts us below where we were last week, where we had this goal of 15. We just barely dropped below it. Honestly, I probably could have like forced it if I really wanted to, but I'd rather just let things play out the way they should play out. So I'm never going to look to manipulate numbers. I'd rather it just fall the way it should. And that last week there, which is the 8th week away, is the only thing that's really dragging us down. If we just look at the last 7 weeks or whatever this is, yeah, we'll be back above that in no time. So overall, I'm thrilled with the week. Very happy with how it went. It felt easy. I didn't feel like there was a whole lot of risks that was taken, not beyond the usual, of course. We had some CSPs. We're now out of those CSPs as they've gone. They've been assigned in some cases or expired. So, but we'll get to that in a minute. And weekly return for the week was 1.4. My goal is 1.0. So again, super happy. That's great. Overall, pretty pleased with how things went. And I got out of some crap positions that I haven't wanted to be in for a while. Qubit is no longer on this list, so that's cool. I do still want to get out of a couple of others that are on here, especially towards the bottom. Clove had a great week, so I could have sold this, but unfortunately I was doing a account transfer, so I was locked out. And we can look at Clove real quick. I think it's deep red is where we finished today. Yeah, 4% down. But the 5-day was looking real good there. That 322 It could have been a good spot to sell, although I think my cost basis is actually like $4. Small position. I don't really care that much. I'm actually kind of interested in just getting out of it and reducing the noise that I'm looking at. And to be honest, I'm not like a big believer in Clove. This was a play from months ago that I'm like, let's see what happens. And then nothing happened. And it just, I mean, it just ate it for 6 months straight. Look at that trend. Oh my gosh. I think I got it like literally right here. And I was like, oh, what a good price. Look at how low that is compared to the last month. And then it was just like all the rest of the 6 months thereafter. So it happens to the best of us, and I'm not going to lose sleep over it. Again, a very, very small position of like 1,000 shares, smallest position I have actually at this point. Outside of, I do have one other position that I don't even have up here. Cooler. At some point, I'll take that. I'll just sell that and take that loss. It's like probably a $500 loss, $800 loss. So yeah, let's look at the actual trades for the week. We've got a total of, let's see how many total transactions we had. 25. So actual trades was probably in the range of a dozen when you consider the sells and the buybacks and all that. But we started off with Bull, and that was a simple one where I had some shares lent out and I got paid out on my share lending. So I mean, you got to claim it somewhere, not traditional theta. You get it once a month bonus sometimes. Next month, it'll be like $450. But this was awesome. I all week or all month long, I was lending out shares on Bull. The rate went as high as 49.5%, I think. So, I mean, that's insane, right? Like that's covered call territory in free shares that you're just letting sit uncovered. So that was amazing. I feel like I should sort this a little bit because I have other Bull plays, and I kind of want to talk about them all together. I guess I'll just jump down there and do that. But anyway, that was a quick play. Then I held them uncovered. Probably would have been ideal to sell it when it like just barely touched 15 last week. And then they announced the dilution like as soon as it hit 15 and right back down to 12.5, 13.5. So ended up getting a limit sell out at 13.25, which this was a good one because when you look at the Bull chart, and actually I should probably look at this on TradingView. Yeah, Cooler. We're not going to look at you. This chart is so hilarious how flat it looks because of that IPO stuff. But when we zoom in here, right, and actually now that I'm thinking about it, it's even better on Hood because I like looking at the chart a little bit differently on Bull for what I want to show, which is I put a limit buy in a few days or a limit sell in a few days ago, and I think I put it in. No, that was the day it sold. The day prior was right here. So I put it in somewhere over here, and you can see we hit 1320, and we were going up real quick, and I'm like, limit sell 1325. Surely that'll go through, right? Well, it didn't. It didn't at all. It stopped at 1320. Maybe it hit 1321 that day. I think it didn't. I think it literally hit 1320, and that was it. And then this happened, right? And we just had this very painful drop all the way down to 1250. I mean, that's a pretty big move for a stock that's worth 13x, right? So during that drop, certainly that didn't feel good. But at the same time, I was not interested in panic selling, and I decided to give it time and see what happens. So I actually ended up changing this order from being good for the day to being good till killed or closed, whatever it's called, for 90 days, right? And I was like, we'll just see what happens. So we got really close again, as high as 13.15, and then it fell off again. So kind of depressing when you're looking at trying to get out of a position and it just doesn't go your way. And definitely, I felt the want at the time to be like, maybe I just sell it at market right here, right? Maybe I should just get rid of it. But what I ended up doing instead was I set a limit sell and I just walked away. And when I did that, the next day, I watched it drop all the way down to 1230, right? Or almost, it hit 1230 for sure. I think it actually hit 1229 that day. Again, very depressing feeling and tough to look at, to be honest. When you're like, I was just at 1320, maybe I should have just sold it at 1320 and been happy, which is definitely a reasonable response. But I let it go. I kept my limit there and I left for the day. I walked away. What's going on, Alec? Thanks for joining. And when it came back to a phone notification that said, "Hey, all your shares sold," and I'm like, "What? What just happened?" Well, this bar happened, right? And we peaked as high as 1348. Now, obviously, nobody can ever pick the exact top or the exact bottom. I always focus on trying to be directionally correct. And I knew that nothing had changed in what my thought process was. Couldn't find any news, couldn't find anything that gave any indication that the stock should have moved as much as it did at all. And I was able to sell it on the spike. So did sell 4,000 shares at 1325. Cost basis was like 11. So that was fantastic. Maybe actually, no, maybe it was a little bit above 11. Let's take a look. It was listed at 12.11. Okay, so I bought more shares at 11, but I also had shares that were at 12.50 and 12.75. No, 13 even. So the average was 12.11. Not too bad. Getting assigned on 13.5. Bolt me too, man. And did you sell it for 0.9? That's pretty solid. I sold it for 0.85. But honestly, I'm pretty happy about it because I think bull's a good position to hold, and there was nothing wrong with that play, and it was huge premium. So that's actually the one right here. That nope, that's not that one. That's down here. That's this one. I did a lot of bull action, but I mean $3,300 for those CSP. I will take that all day. And actual cost basis on 1350 is minus 0.85 is 1265. So technically slightly underwater at this exact moment, but you look at the day chart and we were very much in the range of 1250 to, I mean, were we over 13 today? No, we started under 13, but generally this will be fine. I think next week we're going to continue to see it try to create a channel. The longer chart is interesting because I was looking at this and thinking to myself, there's definitely a little bit of a cup and handle going on here. I don't know if you can see it. I never draw on this. Should I try drawing on it? Maybe I should try drawing on it. How do I draw a cup on this? I've never actually done it. Brush? Maybe I'll just use the brush. Oh, wait, I can do an arc. How's this work? Do I do this? Yeah, okay. Well, I messed it up, so I'll have to do that again. Nope, now I gotta click it again? Really? Come on. So yeah, here's our cup. You gotta, I don't know why it makes you click that way. Kind of fits that, I would say, right? And then you've got this little handle looking thing that comes off the cup. And there's probably hotkeys that I need to learn here. And then at some point we get, oh, do they have arrows? I want an arrow. Give me an arrow. There's got to be an arrow in here somewhere, right? Come on. What's that? Nope. That's some fancy stuff that I'm not going to use. I literally just want there we go. Yes. Yes. And then we have this from the cup, right? Actually, I guess I should do this, something like that. It's this is what I'm hoping happens. Now, I don't think it'll go that high, honestly. I do think there's a shot to get into this channel that I drew earlier. This looks ridiculous, by the way, this chart. I love it. And if we can just hang out for maybe a couple of weeks potentially, maybe just one more week, I think we've got a legitimate shot of consolidating and then popping off again because the dilution was obvious. We know what dilution is, right? We know what that leads to, but I think it was bullish. Like they're diluting to invest within themselves. And what more would you want to do than get a good ROI on a business you believe in? And when that business is yourself, what's wrong with that? I think it's great. You're going to delete your message from Tuesday. That's, oh, that was you. That's funny. Well, we'll still quote you. We'll just say next week. If that's good? So anyway, I think bull has a legitimate shot at popping off here. I'm actually gonna I'm gonna save this chart for later. I'll put it in the Discord because that could be a fun one for bull enjoyers to take a look at. What do you Gen Z people say? Peep. Anyway, so that was bull, and there was a lot of action this week for me with bull, both in swinging shares And in total, like all of the bull for this week, which we can just take a quick look at, clear bull, whoops, bull. This week was a good week. We did that's not right. That's average. I don't want average. I want the sum. I just wow 10. Okay, so I did 15K for the week. 10K that was from bull alone. Yeah, it was pretty solid. Good job, bull. So as you can see, I'm definitely a fan of it at this point with how much upside there's been, and even the shares that I have today, that not including the ones that just got assigned today, they're in a good spot. Again, with the cost basis being 12.11, and on Fidelity it even shows lower, but it's 12.11. Selling anything over 13 will feel great. I would prefer to hold these a little bit longer. I'm actually glad that these 3,500 got assigned because my original position was 9,100 shares. Then we dropped all the way down to 1,600 and some CSPs. I got out of the early CSP, one of the CSPs actually. Did I? No. Oh, wait a second. Yeah, no, I did. I thought I did. I need to double check this. Yeah, no, that's this one right here. I'm sorry, I'm blind. I'm looking at the numbers wrong. Yeah, actually would have been assigned on this too. Kind of glad I bought that back because no reason not to make free money on it, right? But the 1250, oh man, that would have actually been a really nice assignment at 1248 on a 1250. That's about as good as it gets when it comes to assignment. But anyway, I'm back to about 8,000 shares now after the CSP gets assigned, and the 4,000 shares that well, let's take a look. I'm losing my mind. So let's select all. I didn't have to do that because I had bull already filtered. But yeah, okay. I show 1,600 and then another 4,000. So back to 5,600. Okay, that makes sense because that's right. I sold shares. I also sold shares. So I like that sizing. I actually felt overexposed a bit at 9,000. It was just a bit too much for what could happen with it. And as much as I like it, like realistically, it's like buying F instead of Bitcoin, right? Like bull instead of hood is not a questionable decision, but it's not number one. And while you might have a little bit of anxiety with hood, it's proven out at this point. It's been running for a while. So generally, I feel pretty good about it. You had different legs of the same share started getting low. Yeah, dude, it's unfortunately there's no good way to really handle that unless you just do like cost basis only management. But I don't like that. I think that makes things even messier, to be honest. So I'll stick to this. I know it can get a little confusing at times, but after you look at it for a minute, things tend to make sense again. So anyway, bull was great. Very happy with bull. 10K of my 2/3 of my gains were from bull. Then we had some other not so fun stuff. I had a big loss this week, and big is I guess relative. $2,000 on Qubit, which this is like an old terrible experiment that I ran when after Jensen said quantum isn't going anywhere, it dropped to $6. You could see the price now. My cost basis was 16. If I had just held the shares, I would have came out ahead if I bag holded those for a few months, which I thought about doing. And I said, no, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to sell aggressive, not in the money, although actually these were in the money. These were originally $5 that I rolled here to $6, just barely getting out. And then it just started kind of rocketing up like 8% days, day after day after day. And then a huge day at some point, like 20% plus, bringing us back to where we are now. And you just eventually you can't get out of it. And it was so deep in the money that it was assigned. The shares were called away. They didn't expire till October. So there's nothing you can do about that situation outside of preemptively rolling. But I would have had to roll to, I don't know, 2027 probably to get like a net credit. And at that point, it's like, whatever. I could take the loss and eat the CC and hope it continues to go up, but I don't believe in the stock, so I ended up just saying we'll see what happens, and I'll eat the loss. So, yeah, numbers could have been a little bit better for the week if I didn't take that loss, but it is what it is. That's probably my last long-standing hanging out there type of former experiment type thing that I did that I just has finally caught up with me. Um, and that's all right. I think it's important to experiment. I don't think I'll ever do what I did there again. It just, in hindsight, didn't make a whole lot of sense. Yeah, Run is another one. Actually, I thought Run was down right now, isn't it? What is it doing? Well, it's down a lot today, but up for the month, up for the 5 day, obviously too. And oh no, actually down for the 5 day, but the month it's still pretty good, depending on when you got it. You doubled your money potentially, so yeah, you got to be careful with those drops. It's tough. You can't win them all, and spikes like this are very hard to manage, especially if you think that like you give this a few days and you're like, oh look, we're in a new channel, and then it's like, nope, nope, you're not. And it's like, no, really, we are. Nope, nope, you're not. And then you think you are. Well, let's see what happens next week, because stay tuned. It may happen again. Um, Actually, looking at this chart, it's like, I don't want to touch this thing with a 10-foot pole, because it's just a potential disaster. That is, dude, that is like, I could draw a roller coaster on that. I'm pretty sure, of just the up and down, and like match them up. Maybe they're loops. Maybe they would be loops on a roller coaster. Anyway, let's get back to the tracker. We talked about Bull. We did not talk about GME. Somehow I skipped over that. Simple one, just 718s. I bought them back for over 50%. Just kind of standard practice. I've since resold those for out in August. I like to keep 30 to 45 DTE for GME. Not fully covered. I have another 400 shares that are currently uncovered, which is good, because I actually sold these at like, I don't know, maybe it was just at 23 when I hit this one for $1. So I plan to buy this back likely at 50 cents in a couple weeks, when it inevitably just goes like this, like it always does. But my other shares, I'm leaving uncovered, and I actually have a limit sell, good till canceled, on that for 250 at $30 out in September, which is after earnings. So that's something I like to do pretty routinely. I've just never had shares called away ever on GME, which is crazy. For years, been doing this, and I don't know how. Like, they've gone deep in the money before and then fall out before expiration. I don't touch them generally, but anyway, GME play was a simple one. We're back in it, and nothing changing there. Caliber swing trade, made a quick $2,500 on this. I bought at 14, sold at 16.50. I bought back in at 16 the next day, which is arguable. Like, maybe I should have waited a little bit longer. It dropped all the way to like 15.20 or something. But again, who knows? And I'm actually happy having it at 16. I just realized I don't think it's on my list here. I never put it back in. Whoops. And I upped my position slightly to 1,500 shares, just as it's kind of heating up a little bit. Whoops, what did I do here? So it's kind of a fun position right now. I bought it at 16. Yeah, that looks right. And I mean, I had a limit sell in for 18.50 and missed it. It was like, what did we hit today? Caliber was a kind of a fun one to watch. Talk about a shit show. It was just all over the place today. All over the place. That is insane. And we've already like peaked almost back at 18. Yeah, it was just shy, and like, I know Long sold at like 18, and a bunch of other people hit it too. I actually tried selling it here. I put the limit sell in, and then it just crashed. They must have saw me coming. They're like, let's get out of here before this guy makes money. And so I didn't. Yep. The GME code, man, it's I'm not sure there's a code to crack. I think it's just it's still a little memey. You just don't get the same premiums you used to, but I can't let it go now. It's like my cost basis on it's got to be like $7. I think I actually did the math, and maybe it's like $10, but it's pretty low. All right. Then we had, after Caliber, that was a simple swing trade. Like I said, I'm back in it, back in the money again already. If it goes to 18 on Monday or whatever, I will most definitely sell it and try to buy it back, just for like $1 difference if I can. And I'll just keep doing that until the merger happens. Nothing wrong with that. TSLL, this was a little swing one. I saw the mega dip, and I think we were down at 290 at one point this week. Pretty close to that anyway. I don't even know what Tesla did today. Oh, it was a good day. I didn't even pay attention to Tesla. I got pretty far dated CCs on it. But yeah, like when we were out here early in the week, I bought some TSLL just swing traded that too. It was a simple like, look, we're not hanging out at 290. There's just seems highly unlikely. And just sold it, made a quick $1,000. Could have held on for longer, obviously, but I didn't really care. I didn't buy shares. I'm sorry, that was CSPs. I looked at buying shares and then I bought the CSPs. But anyway, you get the idea. Same difference. Quick $1,000 on that play. And I think that was a 1-day trade. Actually, it was pretty good. Maybe it was 2. It was pretty short. Okay, we talked bull, and then we got Tesla. I had a quick CC buyback opportunity, 250 down to 115. It was more than 50% return in less than 50% of the time. So again, kind of just like following my general rule set, cashed in on that one and was done. And then resold some Tesla CCs much further out. Also not in the list yet. Come on, get it together, man. What are you doing? I'll put this in later, but well, I'll put it in now real quick. It's out at around this point. I'll check the date in a bit. But yeah, TSLA sell 200 at 330. That's open 750, and I think it's no, isn't it's after earnings, which is like, oh, it's that weird week, so it's not the 18th. It's actually the 25th. Okay, there we go. Those are CCs. Whoops. And that'll be fine. I'll be happy selling at that. That's above my cost basis. So that'll be a nice little return for a couple weeks of playing it back and forth. After Tesla, I messed with ONS a little bit. Another quick $1,000 swing. Those little swings add up though. Like if you look at how many shares I swung this week, shares alone, is that really only summing to 2,000? Oh, because I selected Qubit. We're gonna ignore Qubit. Yeah, that was not what I wanted to select. But otherwise, $4,000 just. Oh no, I missed them. Bull here too. $8,000 just kind of swinging shares. So like, as much as options are great, sometimes you just take the profit now, because a bull was actually a good example of we were in what looked like new territory, $15, right? We go back to this chart. We peaked at 15.17. And it's like, oh, look, we're getting back to this channel. This makes sense. And then they're like, boom, dilution. And you can't predict that. So, what's really the answer? If you sold CCs here, you'd be a little salty. CSPs, you'd be a little salty, right? Like there's actually no good win unless you happen to be the one buying puts. And you probably didn't, because I can't imagine that many people really bought puts expecting a huge drop here. Obviously, anyone who sells an option is selling it to someone, but I don't know. It didn't seem like the probable scenario based on everything that we knew. It looked like we were just going back to this channel that we had initially formed. So back to my point, which is, what's the answer? Well, sometimes the answer is just take the profit. Just take it. Had I walked away selling it for $15 because it would have been, if I sold it at anything, it would have just been 15 or some dumb number like 15.05. It makes me feel like I got a deal if I sell it for 5 cents more. If I sold it for that, obviously I'd be thrilled, and I would have bought back in somewhere down here for sure, because I did anyway, right? Like that was immediately what I did, was sell in the money CSPs, and you gotta sometimes look at this and just say, just take the profit. You can wait, of course, but so much can happen in the course of a day, a week. Like this is literally a day this happened, this announcement at the peak. What else can you do? So sometimes just take the profit and run. And the best way to do that, the fastest way to do that, outside of 0DTE SPY, I suppose, is just sell the shares, right? Like that's just the answer. Why would you be salty selling CCs before the bull drop? Great question. Really, it's just because it went down and now your underlying's down and now you feel like you're bag holding. So I wouldn't have been bag holding because I was still above cost basis, but most definitely it doesn't feel great selling CCs on something that you own and then it just plummets because like NLV, net liquidation value, while I wouldn't sell it, now you have to wait some period of time or feel compelled to wait some period of time. So just kind of like another way to think about it, where yes, we generally don't care per se of selling CCs and the stock movement below it if it's something we believe in. But like when you have this movement from under 11 to 15, that's one of those. Just take the money, and who knows what's going to happen next. But you can just re-enter. You can wait a day and see what happens because the likelihood that we just went straight here and didn't backtest at all, unlikely. I mean, it's very rare that you. I mean, look at RSI, right? Like RSI is always about you. Even if you go down, you go up. That's why you generally don't see only red bars even going down. There's always going to be some reversion to the mean type stuff. So you can find a good entry after these mega spikes. Arguably, this would have been an okay place as well, but this was earnings, and we, I think, generally. Not this was not earnings. I'm sorry. This is when the warrants expired, right? Or the day after. So we knew we wanted to wait a day or so to see what happened. So arguably, this would have been just as fine of a day to sell, right? And just be like, yeah, I'm going to lock it in, and then you'd feel bad the next day, but then the day after you'd feel great. That's generally how it would go, I'm sure. All right. Next up, we've got what did we talk through? Tesla and Reddit. Yeah, I wanted to get back in Reddit and to an even 1,000 shares in one particular account. So I sold an at the money CSP for 143, and then it just went up. So I ended up saying like, yeah, whatever. I'll just take 95% profit or whatever, and I just bought it back. I certainly could have let it expire for that extra juicy $8, but I didn't want to think about it anymore. I kind of just wanted to move on. I am a new owner of NBIS, which is some sort of AI company that I probably couldn't tell you nearly as much about as I should. This looked really safe when I originally sold it. And this is the interesting thing about options, right? Like we look at the NBIS chart and the last 5 days, I sold it here. I think we were at 48 when I sold it. No, I'm sorry. It was last week. It was even higher. It was in the 50s. And I sold 46. And then not only did we get real close to 46, it looked like we had bottomed out and we were heading back up slowly. And then it just dumped. I have no idea. No, there's nothing. There's no real news on, what's happening. I love this. Seeking Alpha has 2 articles. This stupid stuff it's how useless the news is when you look at it on Google. It's very rarely very, thought-provoking stuff. But expect another move up on Q2 earnings. Discipline knows meaning when to exit. Like, come on, guys. It's 2 days apart. Like, what are you talking about? You don't know anything, obviously. And it is what it is. I think it'll be a fine stock to sell CCs on. So I'm going to hang with it for a little bit. And, when you zoom out a little bit, yeah, are we at risk of dropping all the way back to here? Potentially. I don't know. We'll see how Monday opens up. And depending on that, it's likely going to be a CC play for me. Otherwise, yeah, who knows? Maybe we'll end up having to do a little bit of bag holding, but generally the trend is good, right? We've been heading in a good direction. I think some of this, honestly, is just following the CoreWeave and Sezzle. I don't know how you pronounce Sezzle. Those businesses that had a real rough finish this week here. I mean, look at both of these here. CoreWeave, let's look at the last month, right? And I think if I were to put NBIS on here, it would be similar-ish. And even Sezzle, I think, is fairly similar in terms of how they all moved. Generally, right? Like directionally correct statement in how it shaped up over the week. And actually, it looks like Nebius and Sezzle are like almost tied at the hip if I were to I can't get rid of CoreWeave. But yeah, so, realistically, they're moving together. Why? I think it's more because of CoreWeave and the Cores acquisition not looking so hot for them right now, and people starting to question the valuation. and the way that they bought it was obviously based on the share price. That seems to bother investors lately. That's becoming a more and more hot button of share dilution outside of, MicroStrategy and Bitcoin purchasing companies, well, other than GME, of course. They everyone else gets burned pretty hard when they do this, but can you blame them? Like, they know they're way over valuation. Take advantage, especially if you're paying yourself or getting paid in stock long term, and you know that you can make a good investment on it and turn it around. I'm not finding a good argument why you wouldn't do that. So can't blame them, right? And if you can't blame them, if you can't beat them, join them. So anyway, I own NBiz now. Long story short. Then finally, last play, we already talked about that bull one, was Reddit. And yet it was, you're right, it is a weekly Reddit play. Repeatedly, Reddit is like the most fun stock in the world to play. There's so much money to be made on Reddit volatility and the market not understanding it at all. But like, you can generally feel resistance and support on this stock better than any other stock. I don't know what it is. At least it makes sense to me. So we dropped to 141-ish, 140 maybe. Actually, I think we might have dropped below 140 for Reddit in the last 5 days. Well, let's take a look, see. We went as low as, it says 141. I think we might have been lower, though, intraday. The candles might have showed some longer wicks down. And I bought it around here. It was like 142 when I bought RDTL. And it was not intended to be a long hold, but the thought process here is I already got 1,100, 1,200 shares, 1,200 shares of Reddit, right? And I pared that down from 2,200. So like, I've already kind of pulled back a little bit, but now that I've pulled back, rather than just buying more Reddit, I was like, why don't I do what I like to do with Hood? When you have a dip in Reddit, and again, it's going to come back to this likely 150 area, there'll be a random spike for sure. Like, when you look at the longer chart, there's always random spikes. And that happens after a big drop, and they fall off as quickly as they go up. So the idea was just buy RDTL, which is the 2x directional leverage stock, equity ETF, whatever, for Reddit, and sell it. So I did that. I sold it and made quick 5% over a couple of days and walked away with $550. This is exactly what I was thinking. Buy low, sell high-ish, higher. Doesn't have to be super high. And I was pretty happy with that. So that's what I did. Then I've got a bunch of other stuff. Yeah, dude, Reddit is great for CSPs, by the way. Like, if you sold CSPs at 140 this week, you would have walked away with pure profit. And if you didn't, you would have walked away in pretty good shape anyway. Now, I think people would argue with me and say, yeah, but what about last week when, I'm saying I'm happy with owning it at 150 right now. And I think a lot of people were like, yeah, but look, we're down from 150. It's like, yeah, but what's your actual cost basis? And chances are it's like 145 because the premiums are so good. Now, I do think we're going to head back up. In fact, Average Advisor was looking at this earlier today and saying, yep, looks real bullish to him. We touched which moving average is this one? 140.91 is, nope, that's not the one I want. 140.91 is not a moving average. That's the Super Ichi Cloud. But 141.60 or 55 is the 20-day moving average. So basically, we hit that, we bounced off it, and generally, we're expecting to continue up going forward here. I like going up. We're pretty well in this fib, and we didn't drop down to here and test it at all. We're just kind of making our moves back up. There is some concern about this gap here, which I agree with. There is some concern there. But not every gap gets filled. And if it does, honestly, I'm going to buy a whole bunch of RDTL right here. 100%. That is the plan. So that's a good one to keep an eye out for, right? If you're big on Reddit, especially if you don't have the capital to play Reddit, RDTL is only $25, right? So you can get however many shares you want of that and then really enjoy the 2x, almost 2x benefit you get by holding on to it should there be another spike back up. And here we have earnings coming up. And I personally expect us to finish earnings here, if not above it. Now, I'm going to not get too crazy and just say we're likely to finish here. And I think a lot of that is just driven off of the new coach that he's got for communications. I think hopefully Spez finally gets the message. If you haven't noticed, if you're not looking at it on Reddit, but he's actually been active on Reddit again. There were some like not ND, or maybe they were NDAs where he was actually not allowed to talk on Reddit or interact, and so there's a big gap from the last time he messaged to now. And he's talking again. He's interacting again, and it's a good one. Yeah, I think it's worth looking at. Definitely, I'm again not financial advice. Definitely do your own due diligence, but maybe keep an eye on it, see how it moves. I mean, just look at Reddit if you want to see how it moves, obviously. But again, we can draw a cup here. We can draw a cup and handle here. In fact, let's do it. We're going to do it. We're going to draw the cup and handle because now I know how to draw the cup and handle. All right, it's basically here. Oh, hey, did you know you can just draw a curve one time? I didn't know that. There's the cup. Look at this handle. And you know what I'm going to draw next, right? Next up is the arrow. Boom. Up we go. How far will we go? I don't know. But again, like this definitely looks like a little bit of a cup and handle deal. Will it work out the way I hope it does? I don't know. I to be honest, I'm not like that great at drawing this stuff. I probably off on something, but it seems feasible. I'm just gonna throw that out there. This and bold together, we've got two very similar situations going on. This one's just a lot more shallow. You gotta like zoom in differently on it. Oh yeah, now it looks nice, right? I mean, it's kind of like a bowl, maybe not a cup, but I think we've got similar things going on between these two, and I will personally be keeping an eye out for it. So hopefully it works out, right? That's kind of all you can really ever hope for because we do not control the movement of the stock ourselves. We can only react to it and try to stay level-headed throughout it. I don't know what I did here. Something messed up, but um, something like that. Whatever. Cool. Yeah, there's that God arrow. I love it. What else we've got? So only a couple other things really to talk about, and that is I lined up a bunch of plays a little bit longer out this time around. Deck again is just kind of a far dated play. I kept rolling for some profit here. Oh, that's min. I was like, why is it? I can't even see it, but it was showing negative. So this is 3,200 in premiums that will eventually hit. I would love for it to be called away at 115. That would be fantastic. Not sure we'll get that lucky. I put in a huge Lucid far dated $3 CC for the lulls, and it pays $1,200 for 50 contracts. So like, I guess I'll take it. My cost basis on this is, I think, going down to 0 at this point. So we're just going to let this one ride and keep selling CCs on it forever. It's not a 5,000 sounds like a lot, but the position's only like 10K or whatever, which percentage wise is low percentage. And then Google, I've got some 190 Cs out there, which I knew were not that conservative, but pretty happy if it hits. I'll probably be holding these for a while in the money, I would imagine. Ideally, someone calls them way early. That would be the dream. I'm not sure that'll happen, but I'm holding them for a month, and that's fine. It's a good return between the $3 in premium and $25 in share price appreciation per share. So that's a nice $5,000 there, and I'll happily take that. GME already talked about. Tesla already talked about. I just added that one. Lulu, I don't want to talk about. I want to pretend this one never happened, but here we are. And then I've got a Hims play that I thought I bought these back. I did buy these back. What? Oh, I totally missed Hims that I bought back. What did I buy that back for? I bought it back for like $1, I'm pretty sure. Didn't I? I think I did. I'll check this after. I'm pretty sure I bought it back for like 60% or something. So yeah, I made $1,700 off it. So it would be a buck. Was it a $1.15? Maybe it was a $1.15 or a $1.25. I know I don't need to do this right now, but I can't help myself. Yeah, it was about that. So that was another one that was closed and paid off early. And the reason for that one, so this is actually worth talking about too, because the reason I did this was I saw the drop. I actually arguably sold it too early because Hims was another one that, as the day wore on, just kind of dropped off a cliff with everything else. And I sold it over here. I was like, this is great. And, of course, it was like, yeah, no, we're going to keep dropping all the way down to 47. So I could have got more profit out of it, but it was late Friday. I was fine with $1,700 for, no work at all, obviously. And we did it. And then I think likely we'll see another spike up in the week that we've got coming up to $50 again, most likely, because that's what Hims does. And when that happens, I will resell CCs and probably get out because my cost basis on this is like, I think it's 47 actually, maybe it's 46, and now it's even lower, I guess 45. But I think it'll be back over 50. So this could be a situation where if we have a random like spike, I will literally just sell the shares on this instead of trying to CC out of it. And that's again, you gotta recognize when you just take the profit and run. That might be a situation. I've got Archer, 4,000 shares of that at $11 CCs for end of next week. That already hit this week, but then dropped back below. I think we were well over $11 at one point this week. Let's take a look. I mean, today we were, we hit 11.20. That would have been great to have the shares uncovered because that actually would be just below what I'll get. But from the time perspective, if I had been able to magically time at 11:20, right, in the morning, technically would pay more. Now it spiked. It spiked earlier in the week, almost at 11. So I was feeling like these shares might get called away, for sure. I'm expecting them to. That was kind of the plan on these because I like Archer, but I don't want to own it midterm. Now, they kind of got the lift from the drone news, but they're not really in the same class as like ARCAT, which isn't even on my spreadsheet, because it's a play before I even had the spreadsheet. So putting it in makes it look like I did something better than I did. I don't want to like misrepresent anything. It was a great play, but it's just not worth kind of putting it out there separately. But yeah, I got that juicy 850 fill, 852. And then we ended up finishing around there anyway. So that was a great play too. But my point is ARCAT was huge in the news from this right here, one of the actual news articles that's worth reading, where they've got a lot of like orders in for drones. They keep talking about it. And ARCAT's a clear beneficiary of that for the military because they're military applications. They do small drones, drone swarm technology, which is pretty cool. They work with Palantir, and although I'm not sure how they're connected anymore because I've read the DD on that months ago. This is like over a 6-month play for me at this point. But anyway, I saw the spike up, and you look at the 1 year, and it's like, you know what? I'm out. I'm good. I don't think we're getting back here anytime soon, and I'll take the whatever the actual gain was. Not quite 50%. That's for sure. I think I bought it at $6 or something. So I'm out. Freed up the cash on that, and we'll move on to something else. What's going on, Jay Peters? Good to see you, my friend. Thanks for joining in. I like ARCAT better than ONS. Bob Dog would say no. What is wrong with me? Because he's seen the office building in Puerto Rico and thinks that it's a scam. Doesn't shell company that doesn't actually do anything. But Arcat, the CEO, has been photographed with like Donald Trump Jr. and some other big wigs and stuff. And I think that, there's definitely a good chance that they've got something cooking. And that was kind of behind a lot of this play. That's why I held on to it for so long. Although realistically, it would have been nice had I sold it at 9 the last time. But yeah, I think there's a good shot that they've got something going. Now, I do think Ons is a legit company. If we look at Ons, I wonder how they overlap. I should look at that next. But um, they're kind of a micro. They're both micro caps. Actually, what is so 850 million for Arcat, and that's purely stock appreciation market cap. They haven't done that much more than Ons, as an example. But or there we go. If you overlap them, they're pretty similar, as you can see, right? I do think Ons may have a better long-term product, but that's not founded in deep research or anything, right? That's kind of more looking at conviction that I see out there online. It's fading for Arcat. It was very high. I got in originally here, and then rode this up a few times. And then others started kind of popping up, and Joby was out there. Archer started taking, and they're not military drones, but they just started kind of like biting into the news of like, hey, we're drones too. Um, and so some of the flavor of the week fell off here, especially as we got into the whole tariff situation. They took it hard, but I think both companies will be fine in the future for a while. We just don't have any track record of execution. And I'm not convinced Arcat will have good execution on what they're doing, on their investments. I think from what I can tell, they have a CEO who's like a salesy type guy. And I'm not sure he's going to be able to really, I'm an ops guy. I came from 10 years of running businesses, running factories. Like I very much know what goes into running a factory successfully that manufactures something. And if you don't have that down, it doesn't matter how good you are selling things, you'll eventually just fall by the wayside as people say you can't execute. So time will tell. And to me, now is a good time to get out of here and see who does perform and can perform. Because I don't need to bet on one being successful or the other. We can just wait and see and then still make money on them later when the opportunity arises, right? So I'm kind of just holding off right now. What's going on, McLaren? You're McLaren on After Hours. You're also McLaren on the Discord, dude. I see you there. I know who you are. Ons is more of a portfolio of that's probably true. Arcat has multiple drones. They have like basically call it a V1 and a V2. Like they have like the Barracuda, I forget the names, and then they have like the Predator or whatever their names are. And they have slightly different functions, but like they've talked about how they're tooled up for this one and they're retooling for this one. And that makes me go like, oh, you have one assembly line, right? So you're a little bottlenecked in the manufacturing process and you're cutting off this opportunity for that one. And that makes me a little wary because that's all your eggs in one basket type approach. And you know that they're probably doing that because they're going to license software. They're going to sell this as more of like a ongoing subscription type, service based model. And that is like going to make a lot of money. However, when you cut off what you had that was working to do all this other stuff that might not work, you could have a problem, right? And that's where the execution side comes in of, I don't need to bet that they are or aren't going to be successful. That's why I don't really mess with Rocket Lab or ASTS too much. In fact, ASTS is struggling to execute to their plans. So like, let them figure it out. And then when you know that a company's got execution down and figured out, then yeah, dude, there's plenty of time for them to keep growing, right? Like you don't need to be in on ground floor. You can be on ground on floor 2 or 3. And if it goes up to floor 10, well, guess what? You still can make a ton of money, right? That's kind of how I think about it a little bit. You'd be subbing to the service. Awesome, dude. It is amazing. I will tell you. We end up talking about this. I just shook my whole desk. Sorry. We end up talking about this every time at the end of the video, which I guess we are getting to the end of the video. But you'll see everyone who joins. Pretty much, not many people leave. I think turnover is still under 10%, like 7% maybe, something like that. And yeah, the coolest part is actually like throughout the day. I can't keep up with the messages anymore. It's insane. And but the members are just like getting each other better. And there's like, I'm sure you've heard the phrase iron sharpens iron. Yeah, very manly sounding. But it's how it feels. Like everyone's really leveling up their skills and their knowledge and helping each other. And that is the coolest thing about this to watch. I love it. Can I explain more in depth on the difference between tiers? Yeah, dude, there's no real difference. Like we made the first tier, right? And that's the tier. And then I made the second tier as we were experimenting with some ideas and didn't realize it was public. And a bunch of people started signing up for it. We're like, what are you doing? And I remember Saul was the first one to do it. And I'm like, dude, like I have nothing to give you. And he goes, I just want to show my support. I love it here. Love what you guys are doing. So, I'm not looking for anything. So it's really like a badge of honor, I suppose, right? Like, or bragging rights or something. And they do have their own channel, their own chat channel, which is kind of cool. It's like the teacher's lounge almost. I don't know. We don't do anything there that we wouldn't do in the regular member chat. It just kind of took on its own like identity as some people joined. And at first there was only like 3 people. What's going on, Brian? Hearts indeed to the TD fam. But yeah, it's Super Daddies have just grown into this funny little they're their own meme, I guess. But obviously we're thankful for the extra support that comes with that. I would not try to sell anyone on you should do this or that. Again, the only thing you'll get is this. Hopefully you can see this on the webcam. This bobblehead. I just ordered 20 of these to ship out, and I think we just hit 18 members, so I have to buy more maybe. And I have to ship them out manually, which is going to be a pain in my ass. But as a thank you to the people who decided to get that level, that's the only actual tangible benefit. Is you get a bobblehead that you could just buy online if you wanted. So the only difference is it comes from me directly shipping it. It's kind of funny. Yeah, no, dude, it's all good. I like I said, I'm happy. If everybody was just the regular State of Daddy, that'd be awesome. But it just, like I said, it kind of grew into what it is. And if people want to do it, I'm not going to stop anyone. That's super cool. Justin showed up. Look who it is. Good to see you, Justin. Any questions on stuff this week? I think we finished a little bit quicker, which is good because we've got the town hall in just a half hour here, and that'll be fun. We'll continue to lose my voice talking about different things on that too. No, dude, what are you sorry about? Actually, if you look at like when we normally start, you're still early because we don't start for another 4 minutes usually. You'll be at SD. Oh, cool, man. No rush. I look forward to seeing you there. That is, it's amazing that so many people have really come to enjoy it. The crazy thing is, like, so we'll talk about this in the town hall, but like we're raising prices August 1st, and it's actually kind of an insane price increase. And I'm kind of stealing my own thunder, but I don't think there's a ton of people watching right now, so I'll give you the little heads up. But the idea is like we're growing so quickly that because it's like a chat room Discord, right? Like the idea is let's slow the growth, but still get, for us doing the work, get the value out of new members. So all existing members are going to be grandfathered at the current price, but like, I don't know. It's scary even saying what the price. We're not even going to say it till the town hall what the price increase is going to. But like to be honest, it scares me a little bit. I'm a little. I mean, I want to provide it to as many people as we can, obviously, and we know the value's there. Like literally everybody makes their money for the month back in a week. Like I don't know where else are you getting a return like that? So obviously there's plenty of value there, but you want to keep it accessible. but you want to keep it real and like sustainable to the community you've built. You don't want to alienate the community that you built. You don't want it to fall apart because it got too big, which is its own form of like greed and stuff. And so, how do you balance it all? And the fact is, we don't really know. This is all an experiment. I can't believe it is what it is right now. But what we'll do is we'll continue to experiment. And the fact is, like, if certain things don't work, like whatever, we can change. We can always change, right? So we'll keep trying stuff, and we'll trying to make it good. Hey, Slappy. Hey, thank you for your time. Teju, I don't know how to say your name. I'm sorry, but I hopefully said it right. Yeah, dude, the vibes. It's like truly, or dude, it is all about the vibes, and it feels so good. Like I'm truly unemployed right now, right? Technically, although less so now because this is turning into like a real thing. And oh, cool. And it's like a passion project that has turned into a real business that you really want the people who have already gotten value out of it to keep getting value out of it. And like, how do you do all that? How do you make it? And the best part is, I love showing up to it every day. Like, I have zero anxiety going to work at Theta Daddies versus my old company, which I almost said and I outed myself. So, like, I'm very much interested in doing whatever it takes to make sure that this works for the long term. You wish you were unemployed? Ah, do you though? Do you? It's a funny thing. I that could be its own video for like an hour. I don't wanna ramble forever. Yeah, dude, like that's it. Since Saga made it too. Nice, good to see you, dude. Um, it's oh, you just changed your name. Wait a second, you've been here, haven't you? You just changed your name from something else. I think you were here already because I recognize the icon. Um, it does feel like a second family though. Like it's funny. I tell my wife about it, like, oh, I was talking to this person. And she's like, I don't know these people. I'm like, oh yeah. Oh, sorry. My wife doesn't pay to be a member. She's not allowed in the Discord. True story, by the way. That's the funniest thing. Muffin. Oh man, Muffin in the flesh in a Rise video. Oh, that's exciting. So yeah, no, it's been a wild experience, and I just I'm thrilled that I love telling the story of like when we first started. It was like, wow, we might only have like 7 or 8 members. Who knows? This could be months, right? So I'm all in. We'll see how long it takes, and then it's obviously grown into what it is. So it's pretty cool. Blueberries. So funny you say that. I'm almost out of blueberries. I gotta go to Costco, man. I'm down to like my last container, and you know that last container is not the good container because you would have eaten it already if it was the good container. The first week paid for an entire year. I think that's true for most people who have joined. Like I'm worst sales guy on the planet, but like, I mean, I keep this up all the time. You pick a week, and yeah, there's a couple of negatives here and there, but generally, like all of these numbers are big numbers, and much more than 350 plus another 670 is what 420. Oh wow, we're 420 a year. How did we miss this? Missed opportunity, right? Did I just do that math right? 35 times 12? Oh my God. Oh, I would like that's something we need to be publishing. This is too good to be true. This is a mistake. Oh, now we can't change the price unless it's a multiple of 420, obviously. Your best week this week. Okay, let's take a look. Let's take a look. Where are you? Did I didn't like sort this, did I? Is it still under uh Yo, Alec? It is. Oh, you're at the bottom. Hey, man. Very cool. That is awesome. That is a fantastic week, dude. Anonymous Ibex. Listen, Ibex. I guess it's this thing, whatever that is. Some sort of antelope. Antelope crossbred with a cantaloupe. Yeah, dude, that's amazing. 6%. Wow. Hell yeah. I love to see it, man. I love to see it. That's fantastic. And that's it, right? Like, that's the whole goal here is when you can start doing this stuff on your own, you don't need us in the future, right? When you figure it all out. But like the cost is very reasonable if you're going to continue to do it and you trust these people that you made this money with. Like, I don't know. It's the anonymous side of it is kind of really nice mixed with the personalities that have all come together. in that like there's no, it's not weird talking about money, whereas it is talking about money with anyone you know personally, right? Like you ever try talking about stocks with somebody you know? It's a disaster. Nobody wants to hear you talk about stocks. Look at all that support in chat. I love to see it. You guys are so good. And that's it. That's it right there in a nutshell. It's just that's what we have all day. Who called it? Somebody, one of you called it a love fest in the feedback. I was dying. I was laughing. I was like, oh, hell yeah, it is a love fest. You know, it's all right. That's cool. Well, there's nothing wrong with a little love going around, I think. But yeah, no, that's amazing. So your wife, dude, my wife tunes me out like 5 words in. Sometimes I'll try to throw her off. I'll be talking about something she likes, like, oh man, I almost made a really inappropriate. I'll make the joke anyway, like doing laundry. Terrible. Oh, she would hit me if she was here right now. So I'll talk about something she likes, and then like just beeline into something finance related, and I maybe get 5 words in before she's like, "I what? What are you talking about?" Just sub so you're active, excited to be active. Hell yeah, man, that's awesome. I love it. Looking forward to seeing out there and checking out what's going on behind closed doors. Hey Saul, I see you in the background. I know who you are. Thanks for joining in and watching. I appreciate you. Hopefully you got some sleep last night. It's the weekend for you, right? Like how's Saturday? I'm looking forward to Saturday, but it's not Saturday here yet. All right, I'm rambling, and we've got another call coming up in 25 minutes. For anyone who's a member, the town hall will be live at 8:30 EST, which is coming up shortly. So I'm sure I'll see some of you there. There's 3 calls today on Friday. That's never going to happen again, but it's been hilarious how many calls there are today. Uh, hell yeah, Colton. Well said. I like it. We'll end on that. I'll read it out for everybody just in case people are just listening. But we all have a dream, but part of that dream is seeing everyone else succeed. 100% agree with that. And succeed we are. It's very clear by not just the numbers, but what everyone contributes to the server themselves individually. So fantastic. All right. You all have a good night. I'm going to stop gushing now, and we'll see you on the town hall for those of you who join in. Otherwise, see you later.